Did you know that in Mushoku Tensei, Rudeus isn't the only person who has the man god appear in their dreams? Despite being one of Ariel's most loyal knights, Luke was actually someone who ended up being slowly corrupted by the man god, to the point where he even threatened Ariel's life. During this time, Rudeus became connected with Orsted, and the two of them were working together to take down the man god. Thanks to Orsted, the man god was no longer able to appear in Rudeus's dreams and influence him. However, to stop them from taking him down, the man god started to manipulate other people to throw off their plans, which is why he started appearing in Luke's dreams. Over time, he slowly started to convince Luke that Rudeus was a traitor, and the fact that Rudeus was working for Orsted helped his claim. Eventually, the corruption ran so deep that Luke confronted Sylphie directly, pressing his blade to Ariel's neck and demanding to know who she would choose: the princess she swore loyalty to, or her untrustworthy husband. Who would you choose?
Why did Subaru sacrifice himself to save the Maid Sisters in Arc 2 of ReZero? In the previous loops, it goes without question that Rem did a ton of stuff to harm him, but in the end, Subaru still decided to restart his loop after Rem died to save both her and Rom, even when he didn't know if he'd actually return by death that time. First, it's important to understand the reasons Rem even harmed Subaru in the first place were because of his own actions. In both loops, Rem took action against him. He was acting suspicious, but Subaru didn't only experience her bad side, he also experienced the good sides of both the Maid Sisters during his loops as well, and began to care for them and the rest of those in the mansion. So when he came to the cliff and recognized that the sisters cared about him as well, the real choice he was faced with was abandoning everything to run away from his problems and live with the guilt, or risk his life to save everybody. And I think the choice he made shows who Subaru really is. Yeah, he didn't want to abandon those at the mansion, but more importantly, he didn't want to be abandoned. That's why he said that sacrificing himself was the easiest option. It was easier for him to risk not returning by death for the chance to save those at the mansion and have a relationship with them, rather than live alone with the guilt.
Did you know that in Mushoku Tensei, the sacred beast actually becomes Rudeus's pet? After Rudeus becomes Orsted's subordinate, he asks Orsted to give his family protection from the man god. This caused Orsted to give him a scroll with a magic circle that would summon a guardian beast that Rudeus imagined, and that guardian would be under contract to protect his family from anything the man god tried to do. When Rudeus used the scroll, he tried to imagine a strong and loyal beast, something like a lion. And after he used the scroll, the Doldia tribe's sacred beast was summoned to Rudeus's backyard. At first, Rudeus didn't know if he should keep the beast because of its importance to the Doldia tribe, but he decided on keeping it anyway, and to not tell the tribe about it. Once Rudeus was comfortable with the sacred beast being his family's protector, Rudeus would name him Leo, and he would serve as the family dog from that day on. How is Sakinagi in Class A when she has no physical ability in Classroom of the Elite? Class rankings are primarily based off intelligence, but physical ability is also factored in. So how did she end up in the top class with a disability? There are cases where people with outstanding intelligence and physical ability end up in lower classes, just like Koenji, who was put in Class D because of his refusal to cooperate or fit into school norms. There's also Horikita, who has the intelligence to be in Class A, as well as Ayanokoji, who has that and the physical abilities, but they both ended up in Class D. However, the opposite is true for Sakinagi. She has incredible intelligence, as she was born a genius, but she unfortunately has a heart condition, which makes her lackluster physically, and it could hurt her class in things like the sports festival or the island exams. This doesn't mean she's completely useless though, as she was still able to participate in those events. It is true that her dad is the chairman of the school, so he could have pulled some strings, but this is highly unlikely as the school takes pride in itself and the program. It would also be an offense to Sakinagi's intelligence. The real reason she got into Class A is because her heart condition was out of her control, and she excelled in every other area as well as other factors. Did you know that in ReZero, there is actually a side story of Subaru getting summoned into the Mushoku Tensei world? The story takes place right after Subaru helped Emilia get her insignia back, and while he was in the Roswell mansion, he would randomly get summoned into the world of Mushoku Tensei. Once he was summoned, he would meet the man god, and that is when the man god would tell him that he got summoned into a new world, and the only way to go back to the one he came from was by using a magic item that Orsted had, and he would have to go to the Red Dragon's mandible to find him. After his conversation with the man god, Subaru would travel towards the Red Dragon's mandible, but on his way, he would get ambushed by thugs and almost be unalived. However, a powerful mage would step in and scare the thugs away, saving Subaru. The mage would introduce himself as Rudius Greyrat, and he would notice Subaru's tracksuit and realize he is from Japan. Rudius would then reveal that he is also from Japan, and the two of them began bonding over it. Shortly after getting to know each other, Subaru would ask for Rudius's aid in helping him get back home. Did you know that in ReZero, Puck actually showed himself to everyone at the royal castle? In the light novel, after Amelia introduces herself as a royal candidate and starts her speech, everyone in the room starts denouncing her as a silver-haired half-elf. Hearing this, Roswaal joins in on the conversation, and he also puts down Amelia and says that it doesn't matter if she is a good candidate or not, but just that she is recognized by an insignia. Hearing Roswaal say this makes Subaru furious, and he starts screaming at Roswaal and everyone else in the room, causing a scene. After hearing enough of his comments, Roswaal would launch an attack at Subaru. However, Puck would reveal himself at the last second and deflect Roswaal's attack. Following this, Puck would threaten everyone in the room with his power because of what they said to Amelia. This terrified everyone because at that time, Puck held the reputation of the Beast of the End, and they knew he could unalive any of them in that instant. It was then revealed that all of it was a scheme planned by Roswaal and Puck to showcase the fact that Amelia holds more than enough power to unalive everyone in the room, but she chooses not to, as she wants to compete for the throne fairly and is not the demon half-elf everyone makes her out to be. Did you know that an Alia sometimes hides her feelings in Russian? Whenever Yuki calls Kuze her older brother, it's in the opposite language?
Ohayo, my Oni-chan.
In the English dub of the show, whenever Yuki refers to Kuze as her older brother, she says it in Japanese, while in the subbed version, she says it in English. This contrast is most likely because of Yuki's playful and quirky personality, especially considering her otaku nature. Yuki always acts playfully around Kuze, and this switch is probably just another way for her to tease him, much like her other awkward or cringeworthy moments. This fun detail highlights Yuki's unpredictable nature and adds to her and Kuze's unique sibling relationship. Her switching languages also adds an interesting layer to their relationship, showing how she enjoys messing with him and keeping him on his toes. Did you know that an Alia sometimes hides her feelings in Russian? Alia once cosplayed as a video game character because of Kuze. After Kuze unlocked the character Tsukuyomi in a video game, he called the character cute. This made Alia feel a surge of jealousy over his admiration for the character, even though Tsukuyomi was just from a video game. Wanting to be called cute herself, Alia decided to act on her feelings, and later that night, she would go home and begin putting together a full Tsukuyomi cosplay, trying to look exactly like the character. She even went as far as to practice some of the character's voice lines while in the cosplay, determined to embody Tsukuyomi perfectly. However, her cosplay was quickly interrupted when Masha unexpectedly walked in on her. Alia, caught off guard, became incredibly embarrassed and stopped the cosplay at that moment, telling Masha that she needs to learn how to knock before going into someone's room. Did you know that Alia sometimes hides her feelings in Russian was actually supposed to be an isekai? Originally, the author of the series wanted to make a series where the main female protagonist would be reincarnated into an isekai world where nobody spoke Japanese, and despite that, she would sometimes still talk to the main male protagonist in Japanese. However, there would be a hidden twist where the male protagonist was also reincarnated, so he would understand all the Japanese she was saying to him. After a lot of thought, the author of the series decided to scrap the idea because of the difficulties of world building, and he instead opted to go for a simpler high school environment. As for the reason behind why he decided to choose Russian as the foreign language spoken, was because he wanted the female lead to look foreign, and he was influenced by the beauty of Russian women. leading to the creation of Alya, sometimes hides her feelings in Russian. Did you know that in Mushoku Tensei, Rudeus is one of the few people Princess Ariel fears? Ever since he got to the academy, Ariel has taken an interest in him and has made an effort to remain on his good side. But why? Before they ever actually met in person, Sylphie had already hyped him up as a prodigy and mainly talked about how he was a silent spellcaster and how he became a saint-class water mage at just 5 years old. However, Ariel was suspicious if someone that powerful actually existed, and she even doubted that many of the stories about him were true after hearing rumors that he was someone that had slain a red dragon. But after they finally met, Ariel began to see that the rumors about him were actually true, and she began to fear him for 3 main reasons. First, he had insanely powerful connections, like Zonoba, who was a prince, Nanahoshi, who had a stellar reputation with the Magic Guild, the Academy, and was responsible for most of the Academy's practices, Linnea and Persena, who were royalty of the Beast Tribe, as well as Batagati, who was an immortal demon king known worldwide, all of which are people who Ariel would benefit from if they were on her side. And that's only some of the people he knows. Then there's the fact that he has a really good record as an adventurer, being highly ranked with impressive feats. And the final reason is his raw power.